hope you now realize and see that the valleys of dullness or dryness through which she is currently going through will not, in and of itself, give you her soul, but needs to be properly taken advantage of. In the first place, I have always found that the valley moments of human faith and life provided an excellent opportunity for all sensual temptations, particularly those of sex and pleasure. Unfortunately, the items and moments which you want to use in producing lust and sinful acts can also be very easily used for work or play or thought or innocent enjoyment. It is about breaking the balance. It must be noted that the valleys of life are very different in quality and experience than the peaks. As an example, sexuality in the valley moments, lacking love and commitment, is much easier to pervert. Keep her from understanding its bonding power, spiritual connections, and the significance of its role in marriage. In the valleys, it is brought softly into a place of disappointment, shame, and numbness. It is the same with other desires of the flesh. Convince her to abuse the simple taste of a drink and become blackout drunk, to numb the pain of a recent heartbreak, or to be accepted and belong. Again, it is about breaking the balance. Never forget that we are dealing with pleasure, which comes from Jesus, our enemy. He created these pleasures to be enjoyed in certain healthy and normal situations. Our job is to pervert those situations and to take the pleasure out of the intended place from the enemy and convince her they belong somewhere else or to be used in a new way, ways the enemy may have even forbidden. We have won many a soul through pleasure distortion. But there is even a better way to utilize and take advantage of the valleys. Convince her it isn't a valley. Let her assume that her first experiences and encounters with the enemy were expected to last, and frankly, should have lasted, that her mountaintop experience was to be the norm, and she lost it. And now, this dryness she feels, let her grow to believe that this is just as permanent. There are no ups and downs. This is her new norm. As you aid her in becoming used to this low level of spiritual connection and lacking relationship with the enemy, she will gradually become content with it, convincing herself that this is just how it always is. Even beyond that, help her believe her first experiences with the enemy were a bit excessive and not realistic. If she begins to see and believe this dryness and lack of growth as a norm, you are winning her soul. For this reason, I am almost glad to hear that she is still going to church and engaging in youth group. Though this is dangerous, I am not afraid. As long as she outwardly goes through the motions and habits of a Christian, she will see herself in that light while her spiritual state slowly wilts away. She doesn't recognize the definite and actual sin in her life and won't seek repentance. She carries only a vague, uneasy feeling that she hasn't been doing well recently. A few weeks ago, you had to tempt her into daydreaming in her prayers. Now you will find her willingly distracting herself and numbing her own heart. As the condition deepens, you will gradually be freed of the tiresome business of providing her with pleasures to tempt her. As the uneasiness of her lacking relationship and choices grows and she refuses to face it, it will cut her off more and more from all real happiness. The pleasures will no longer be as enjoyable and fulfilling. You will find that anything or nothing will be sufficient in attracting her wandering attention and heart. This process is strong enough to steal away her best years, not in great sin, but in a gratification of distractions and curiosities so small she is barely aware of them, like whistling a song one doesn't even like. once her heart begins to sink into this empty dryness, she will be too weak and confused to shake it off. You will say that these are very small sins, and doubtless, like all young tempters, you are anxious to be able to report spectacular wickedness. But do remember, the only thing that matters is the extent to which you separate her from the enemy. It doesn't matter how small the sins are, provided that their confined effect is to edge her away from the light and out into the nothing. Murder is no better than the distraction of her phone, if her phone can do the trick. Indeed, the safest road to hell is the gradual one.